Welcome to Serving the Business podcast. This is Steve Ramoni, your host. I'm super excited. My brother from another mother, my partner in business, and somebody that's really out there serving people daily, James Levin, Vice President of InPhone. He's also the founder of Be the Best You, and he's going to talk more about that, and you're going to be excited to hear about this. James, welcome to the podcast.
What's up, my man? So happy to be here, man. So blessed to have you in my circle, brother. Excited.
Well, let's talk about your perspective, InPhone, Be the Best You, but let's start with the InPhone and what got you started with that, why you jumped aboard and doing what you're doing.
It's funny, man. It just kind of fell in my lap. I believe in life, everything happens for a reason. My dad talks about the Celestine prophecy and just, things happen in your life and for good and bad. This is obviously for great. And, a great friend of mine who, very successful guy in business, kept calling me about this product. And I really wasn't into it. I was into so many other things in my life, but he kept saying, "Hey, man, I want to introduce you to the guy that started this, and can you help him get into some car dealerships? Because that's my background, was in the car business." So I said, "Yeah, sure." So long story short, I jumped on a Zoom with the founder, and I just saw it, and everybody's reaction, Steve, is, "Wow, this is so cool." And I went and showed my network, and Steve, that was the reaction of every person: is, "This is so cool. It's gonna be amazing for my business. How do I get it?" So that's why I got so excited, man. I've never been a part of anything, especially in the car business and just in life. I've never been a part of something where every single person I showed, there was zero negatives, because you have negatives in business no matter what you do. You know what I mean? In the car business, I'd have an engine blow or the tire blowout or something, right? But with InPhone, every person's reaction was just so positive, and I could feel it, man. I could feel my insides start getting excited again about business. So that's why I jumped right in. I'm so excited to be part of it, and that was the beginning of it, brother.
And, James, when I met James back in October 2020, in 15 minutes, I said the same thing. I said, I'm jumping aboard. He goes, "Hey, I'm not finished." And
Yeah,
I just knew right away. So it got me excited. I'm partner with James. We're really serving and helping a lot of people out there with InPhone with simple technology. Talk a little bit more why it's simple and why people
yeah.
can use this.
I want to use that, and I say this in a loving way, not to insult anybody. I'm talking about myself. Steve, is kind of dummy proof, for a guy like me, meaning it's very simple, it's user friendly. I'm such a right brain, I'm such a non-techie kind of person. And when I saw it, that was the first thing I noticed was, wow, I can use it. Because I'm used to it. And I'll tell you my background, prior, I used to have the nicest, most expensive, gorgeous business cards. Okay. So when I would hand them out, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm going to give this to somebody and they're going to throw it right in the garbage or lose it or something. And when I saw InPhone, I just said, wow, we can differentiate ourselves from everybody else. So the simplicity of it is the key, because it's not only when you can share it with your network or potential network personally, like yourself. Well, my favorite part about it is when I hand it to a client or a potential client, their ability to share it with their network without me doing anything. That's the coolest part. So imagine this, to paint a picture. I meet you at a networking event. I give you my paper business card. You go home and tell 7 of your friends about what I do. You don't have 7 business cards to give them. You don't have this and that. But now you have InPhone where you go, here, QR code, or copy, paste, and share, and text it to them or email it to them. It's just amazing how, the exposure you can get. And again, Steve, I'll keep saying it till I'm blue in the face, the simplicity of using it, man. The user friendly is by far my favorite.
And audience, that's important because technology's out there. People are wasting hours trying to figure stuff out. I think within 2 minutes, you could be able to use InPhone. And I've done that because I've used it. And, audience, I'm very transparent. I've had over 26,000 people click on my InPhone over 18 months. James is probably at 15, 18,000 as well, because we use the tool. You use it, it will work for you. You said a word we talk about all the time, and me and James talk all the time, but network. Let's delve into that networking and the network tool with InPhone.
Just remember the saying, I live by it, I praise it every day. Your network is your net worth. I don't care what anybody says. It's 100% true if you're in business. I meet a lot of people that spend thousands and tens of thousands of dollars per month on hopeful advertising. Okay. It might be billboards, it might be Google, it might be whatever. I call it hopeful advertising, where you put it out there in the world and you hope that people will call you when they see something, right? Well, with your network, when I share what I do, I share it because I'm passionate about it in any business that I own, right? Well, when my network, when I talk to them, I'm excited for them in their personal business. So we share that excitement together. Well, the network part of it is this. And I'm going to talk smack a little bit because this is the problem with a lot of people that want to become successful in business through networking. If I meet somebody, I'm not going to use me because I'm not that kind of person because I've learned. So somebody meets somebody else, they say, hey, what's a good referral for you? Oh, great, let's network together. That person goes home and sits on their couch and waits for that new person to send them a referral. They just sit there and wait and wait and wait, and they never even make the initiative to try to get them a referral. So here's what I teach everybody when I do my how to build a monster network, just seminars and stuff. I tell people all the time, I go, if I meet you, I'll give you case in point. Okay, case in point. I met a pair of videographers. They're young entrepreneurs. I love working with youth, which we'll talk about would be the best dude a little bit. But they're 19 and 20 years old. There's something like I've never seen these two young, I call them young kids because I'm 41. I can call them kids. So these young kids are hustlers. They're videographers. They're professional. I heard from my sources, they're amazing. I trust my network, okay, to tell me about these guys. So I sat with them. I learned about them. I saw some of their stuff. I appreciated what they do. So, Steve, here's the point of the story. That day, I didn't think about how can you make me money, guys. I thought about how can I help you create success. Now, there is a spin to it, which I'll talk about in a second, which may sound selfish, but no, it's called networking. If I can help them create enough success, they might just remember what I do in the future and refer me out. That's the selfish part I'm talking about, which really is the selfish. It's called networking. So that day, Steve, I said, what's a good referral for you guys? They said, we love to work with real estate agents. We love to work, like they love to film. They're professional. I might screw this up. They're licensed drone pilots, I think it's called, the drones that fly.
Yep.
They're like professionals, right? So they said in Philadelphia, where I live, they love to do the skyscrapers and the cranes that are putting them up and all that kind of stuff. Well, it just so happened a lot of my friends were in the crane industry. A lot of them. Made a couple of calls. I got these young entrepreneurs now to film monster, mega $10 million cranes. That day, I called 20 of my real estate agents. I got them business to film not only houses, but real estate bios for all the real estate agents. So the whole point of the story is drawn out is when I met them, I said, how can I help you create success? And I actually acted on it. And I'll tell you right now, Steve, those young guys have referred me so much business that we're now like A-team referral partners, brother. And that's about the network. When I tell people all the time, if you create a solid enough network, which Steve Ramona is the biggest network I've ever seen, if you create a solid enough network, you will never advertise a day in your life. Okay. And that's where InPhone comes in. And again, I'll give it a plug. We've taken everything we've learned in networking and we've put it into InPhone, which we'll talk about if you want.
That's awesome. And audience, I want you to some couple of things that he said. James is 41 years old. I'm 61, so I can definitely call him kids, just to say that. But he's 41. He's very successful. I mean, financially successful. And we don't need to get in numbers, but he's 41. For you young entrepreneurs out there, this is the guy you need to connect with. And we'll leave in the show notes his contact information to help you grow, because that's what he does. I want you to tell the story what you do when you wake up every morning. I love hearing this story.
Hey, man. First of all, I am grateful. I say to myself, wow, we did it again. I kiss my fiance, I kiss my daughter. But every day I just wake up and I look at for business wise, I'll talk. Every day I wake up and hey, I get excited about life. Let me start with that. Forget business for a second. When you wake up in the morning, you have to be grateful. You have to be excited. I know you may have a bad prior night and stuff, but guess what? Every morning's a fresh canvas. It's a fresh start. And I always say, learn from the past and get excited for the future. And I'll steal somebody's slogan. That's why your windshield is huge and the rear view mirror is very small. Okay. You look in the past, you learn, you get excited for the present, and you live in the present, you get excited for the future. So, Steve, every day for business wise, I wake up and I look at my referral list. I have a monster A-team or monster referral network that I say this lovingly. I've dug through the dirt to find the diamonds. Okay. Remember this, when you refer somebody, it's not their name, it's your name on it. So I've done my due diligence. I've done my entire horrible experiences to find my A list. Okay. Every single day I wake up. Now, not all of them, because I do have a big referral list, but a lot of them I will sit there and go, how can I help this person become successful today? Every day I do this. Every day. It might be one person, it might be 10. So every day I wake up and I go, Okay, my buddy Grant owns an auto detail company. So if I see somebody when I'm out there in the day and their car's dirty or their car needs a ceramic coating or something, I'll say, you have to call my friend Grant. He's the man. He'll make your car amazing. My fiance Alyssa is an esthetician. She does skincare. And if I wake up every day hearing somebody saying, oh, I would love to get a gift for somebody, or I need to do this and that, oh my God, you have to call Alyssa. She's amazing. And I do that with my entire network when I'm out. If my buddy owns a monster landscape company, if I see your grass really high, you got to call my buddy Chris. He's amazing at what he does. And I praise them. Okay. But like Steve just asked me, what do I do every day? Every day I wake up trying to make other people successful. And guess what happens? By default, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, they will remember exactly what you do. And guess what? All of a sudden, those 50 people I've always been referring out will just snowball effect give you a million referrals. And it's the greatest feeling ever. And when you care about what others think or, about others' lives first, your time will come. That's number one rule.
Well, the biggest question is, that's great. Sounds easy.
Yeah.
But does it build your business? Is it giving you more income?
100%. Absolutely. And I'm telling you right now, you want to know why? It's because I keep saying this. I've dug through the dirt to find the diamonds. I've found my referral partners that do reciprocate. Now, I'm not saying, Steve, we meet today. I give you 5 referrals. You better give me 1 or else you're out of the circle of trust. I build this over time. And guys, you're going to learn this too. I will give a lot of referrals out and a lot of referrals. And there will come a time where I don't get reciprocated. And that one person I've given a bunch of referrals to hasn't given me anything or thought about me. I'll reach out. This is where I become, I have thick skin. The car business helped me build thick skin. I'll reach out to that person and go, hey, I've given you a lot of referrals. Can you do me a favor? Can you just reach out to a couple of your network today and just see if they need my services? And I'll know if they did or not. Okay. I'll know if they're lying if they tell me. And guess what? I won't say, hey, you're a scumbag. You're dead to me. I won't say that. I'll just say, hey, man, no hard feelings. I've actually found another person in that industry that I've really connected with. And I'm going to give them a shot because I believe that we can network together. And again, that I've done that. This is where you have to step up and put your big girl pants on or boy pants. Business is business. I don't expect a referral every day because if you're a real estate agent and we're referral partners, I can't refer you 20 houses a day. I mean, I probably could, but not all my friends are looking for houses every day. But if you're a landscaper, I do know 30 people that need their lawn cut. You know what I mean? So that's how you got to think about it. So it's kind of like not you scratch my back, I scratch yours. But hey, if I throw you enough bones, remember your buddy once in a while. And yes, Steve, it does grow your bank account when that happens.
And audience, I want you to understand this is serving in business. I serve every day. James, who is my partner, but he's taught me that. He's taught me in business. I did it personally. I've been serving for 50 years. No, not 50 years, but I'm 61, probably 20 years and not been paid. Probably lost millions of dollars. I'm going to tell you guys a quick story. When I started with InPhone, I was meeting people every day, but not selling. For whatever reason, I had a paradigm of not selling. And James sat down with me on Zoom and said, dude, you met 98 people. You have no sales. What are you doing? You're not serving those people. That's what James does. And that's what I do now, which is where this podcast arose. And a big part of it is because of James. And you can see why, what he's done. Let me ask you, because I want successful people on here, because if you've sold nothing in your life and you say you serve, to me, that's not serving. Because when you do make a sale, you're serving. How many cars do you think you've sold over your career?
I can tell you, man, it's well over 35,000.
Okay, did you guys hear that? 35,000. He's 41 years old. Now, we don't need to compare Daniel because I'm not a comparable guy. That's a lot of cars. If you think about the number in your head, vision that. This is a successful man. It's why I love this guy. And I can say it proudly on this podcast because he's willing to serve, but he's also taking care of his family. We talk about family a lot. And that leads to, I love this and I can't wait to be part of this. Be the best you. He's the founder of it. Let's talk about that because I'm passionate about it.
I love it, brother. And it's so funny today, not even thinking, and Scouts Honor, hand on the Bible here. I'm wearing my Be the Best You t-shirt, which I do wear them a lot. I have my Be the Best You bracelet. Steve, I'll just say this. I was not the best student growing up. The reason is my parents always taught me this. Believe in yourself. Anything's possible. Always be respectful to others, okay? Most of the time, unless somebody disrespects you, then it's okay. But I'm just saying in general, always be respectful to no matter what. So in grade school, I was on the Get Me Out of Here program. In high school, I was way on the Get Me Out of Here program, meaning I didn't want to be there. And this is stupid for me to say. I went to summer school every single year. And it wasn't because I was a bad student. It was because I just didn't put the effort in. I didn't care about the grade part. I was an entrepreneur. And see, that's okay to be an entrepreneur since you're a kid, or you can start entrepreneurship when you're 80. Doesn't matter. So I knew college wasn't my thing. And again, the whole story of it was I wasn't the best student. A lot of my teachers looked down on me. And still to this day, they know what they did. And I don't really communicate with them, but I hear talks that they remember. And my high school, I almost failed. I always start anytime I speak it with, in front of a seminar or something like that. I always start out with, I graduated fifth in my high school class, and people clap thinking I'm like a genius, and I go, no, 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 fifth from the bottom. I almost didn't graduate. I'm not proud of that, but you know what? It made me who I am today, so I wouldn't change anything for the world. So in high school, a lot of my teachers, my guidance counselors would pretty much tell me I'd be a loser all my life if I didn't go to college and follow the traditional way. It's not for everybody. Not saying college is bad. It wasn't for me personally. So I was an entrepreneur, still am. In high school, I started my own company, had very large success in high school. Okay. But again, grades didn't matter. I graduated high school and my journey kept continue growing of entrepreneurship. The high school followed my journey for the past 20 plus years. Okay. So again, high school, I'm a horrible student. I come out, I start companies, that kind of stuff, and continue to grow. 20 years later, the high school that told me, I can't blame the high school. It's the individuals in it, some of them. The same high school calls me and says, we followed your journey of success. We would be honored if you would come into our school in the auditorium in front of, 800 kids, students, and give them tips and guidance on how to become successful. So remember this, okay? 20 years later, the same school people that told me I'd never amount to anything in life, I'd be a loser, asked me to come in to give tips to the students on how to become successful. So Steve, that day I went in, I was, of course, I was just on cloud nine. They'd asked me to do this. I go in, I thought I was just going to give a speech. And here's the one rule I have. Not that again, there's nothing wrong with people wearing like, suits and walking in there saying, well, kids, here's how you're going to do it. You're going to go to school, get good grades. No, I walk in there with a t-shirt, a positive t-shirt, a baseball hat. And I flat out say, if you do drugs and you don't get help, you're going to die. If you do this and hurt somebody else, you're going to be this. And I talk real talk to them. I'm real in their face. I'm in their faces going, guys, life is life, right? So you got to either be good or it's not going to be good. And I just gave them tips and guidance. Well, at the end of my speech, from the heart, everything was from my heart, man. You can see my veins popping out of my neck with passion. At the end, I stood in the back of the room, and this is pre-COVID when you can high five and shake hands. Now the world's crazy, but I literally stood in the back of that room and I high fived every single kid in the school, every single kid. And I said, you're awesome. You're amazing. You're man to greatness. You're awesome. And every kid I fived, and there was one girl, and my fiance can tell you right now, she was standing next to me, and my daughter was there. She was just pretty much just born. And five kids back, I see her face, and I just couldn't stop looking at her. She had this crazy blank face on her, and she comes up to me, looks at me, squeezes me, hugs me, looks up and says, you changed my life today. And I didn't realize the girl was getting bullied. She was having, negative thoughts in her mind and maybe hurting herself, that kind of stuff. So Steve, that night and the next day I go home and I have an Instagram. Most of these kids use Instagram and TikTok these days. I go on my Instagram and I had over 60 messages from kids telling me the kind of impact I had in their life that day. And it brought tears to my eyes, dude. Like people said, because of you, I do believe because of your speech, I believe in myself. I believe I can amount to anything. So that day, I looked at my fiance. I said, this is what I'm here to do. This is what my purpose is. And literally, we started the Be the Best You movement. That started by my sister, Lori. She's a hairstylist. And she wanted to say something about beauty, like be the most beautiful version of yourself or whatever. I'm like, yeah, be the beautiful self, be the beautiful you, be the best you. And it literally just stuck. And I'm like, that's it. So, Steve, I started to Be the Best You movement, bro. And I know this is going on a little bit long, but I'm passionate about it. So I hope you don't mind. The Be the Best You movement is not just some dude with a hat that's crazy running up, talking, yelling in front of the kids about, just don't do drugs. No. The Be the Best You is way more than that because I give back to the community. I'm here on for everybody's here on purpose, right? You're here for a purpose. My purpose is to just put one nugget or multiple in these children's heads that if they become the best versions of themselves, the world will be so much better because that will spread. And you know it, right? If poison's out there and it's negative, it spreads like wildfire.
Yeah.
But nobody ever thinks, what about if we have positive thoughts? Can they spread the same way? So the end of what I'll talk about Be the Best You is, what we do is we sell t-shirts and we sell bracelets and stuff and take all the money. And I'll just paint a picture for you. If I'm speaking to a high school, there's a freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior class. Okay. The night prior to me coming in there and speaking, I asked the teachers to ask the students to fill out a little questionnaire. And I say this one answer in your mind: who is the most inspirational person in your grade? Who's the most uplifting? Who's there put a shoulder, a shoulder for you to cry on if you have a bad day? Who makes you that one person in your grade? Who makes you want to become the best version of yourself? Who is that person? Write them down. So I have all these questions in one answer. And at the end, we get the most answers for freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. At the end of my speech, I bring up 4 students, one from each grade. I look at them, I say, you were picked not by your teachers, your coaches, your parents. You were picked by your peers because you are the example of the Be the Best You movement. Without even knowing it, you are helping your entire grade lift up to a better place, right? And I give them t-shirts. I say, on behalf of the Be the Best You and our sponsors, here are some t-shirts, some bracelets, and also here's some money. And I give them money, Steve. It could be $100, it could be $1,000 a piece, depending on what we have in the account that day. The reason is this, and teachers have argued with me all day long. I'll put it towards their college tuition. No, it's not your movement. It's mine. I do what I want with it. I give them money because it's not about the money. Okay. They can do whatever they want with it except for buy drugs. That's why I tell them all. I say, look, it's not about the money. It's about when you do great things for others without expecting anything in return, great things just might happen to you. And I want to make a point of this, Steve, for entrepreneurship and networking. When you help enough people in business, especially, become successful, just by default, you might become more successful. I believe all the time, but I can't guarantee anything in the world. So I put the whole philosophy from the Be the Best You movement into my entrepreneurship, and it just goes with one another, bro. And we've blown up, man. I'm very blessed. COVID put a little wrench in it. I went to Zooms, and it was just horrible. You can't deliver passion through Zooms. You
Absolutely.
can't. So now I'm pumped to be speaking back, and I'll travel anywhere in the country, brother. I'll travel anywhere in the world, man. If you want me to speak at your school or your sports academy, whatever, I'd be honored to do it. That's it, Stevie boy.
Well, James, I've known you a couple of years. I've heard the whole story about Be the Best You. I'm going to put my hat in the ring and support you. And I want to travel with you down the road. This is something I'm going to be passionate about.
Yes.
Reason I'm saying it, listeners, I want you to be passionate. This is why I brought James on, not just because he's my partner and we're in InPhone. This man can do a lot, and I'm going to be right side by side with him with this Be the Best You. If you want to support him in the podcast notes, please reach out. He'll take donations. Remember, our kids are our future. James has a baby, has a nice, beautiful Alex's baby who's gorgeous. He wants to build a better future for her. I want to do the same thing. Let's support James in doing that. James, I thank you so much for being on. I've learned more about you, even though you're my brother.
Oh,
But
man.
I also like to leave the audience with something. And you're
Yes.
a very successful in business and getting better every day. Let's leave them one tip that you want to give the audience they can take with them to help them grow.
Before I say this, Steve, I want to say this. I don't want you to end the show without me saying this. Guys, I say everything happens for a reason. I met Steve Ramona for a reason. He's not only just a great guy, he's my brother, he's my family now. And the greatest part is with technology, we've never even met in real life. And I can't wait for that day to happen. He literally is a server. He does so much for other people. I'm telling you, and don't believe what I say, watch what he does. He just does it. And I just believe that everybody comes in your life for a reason, and it's for life now. So, Steve, I just want to thank you so much for being who you are. You lift me up every day, and I'm just so grateful and thankful that you came into my life. I want to say that first, okay? Thank you. So now, business. You say give him a business tip on the future. Here's the deal. I could give you 1,000, but I'm gonna give you a couple little nuggets here. My parents taught me since I was a baby: believe in yourself. Believe. Now I know it's easier for others than others, or some than others, right? So look in the mirror and understand you are great. You have greatness inside of you. You're here on purpose. You're here for a purpose. Okay. Get that belief in your system and you're unstoppable. With that being said, set your goals. If you wake up every day with no goals, you just kind of exist. Okay. I want you to set some goals. It could be so small, but don't get scared. Make them really big. And I tell people all the time, I never fail, Steve. I never fail in my life. Now, that might sound cocky. Let me finish. When I'm crushing my goals and I'm going after my goals, I give it 100%. I give it more than that if I can. And if I don't hit the goal I set, it's okay because I'm 80% closer to hitting it the next time I hit it. I set it. So understand that I don't fail. I learn. What could I have done better? Okay. What could I have done more? Could I put my time, made it more productive over here versus over there? So set your goals, believe in yourself, come up with your game plan, and last but not least, execute. And understand this, in a couple months or maybe a year, if you're just not feeling it, if you're not passionate about it, it's okay for it not to be meant for you anymore. So find something you love. But last thing I'll say, Steve, is do what makes you happy. Find your passion, believe in yourself. And those days where they're negative, Steve, we have negative days all the time in business. When they're negative, if you love what you do and you're passionate about it, it won't matter. Because if you don't like what you do and you have a negative day, you'll quit in 2 seconds. So that's the nuggets, brother. I appreciate it. I wish everybody nothing but success. I believe in you, and I look forward to your future.